Imagine you are the most powerful person on Earth. You command the largest army ever assembled. Half the known world answers to you. Every morning, people bow when you enter the room. And yet, every morning, before the sun rises, before the court fills with noise, you sit alone with a journal, and you write about how afraid you are. Not of enemies, not of death, but of your own mind. This man was Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, and what he wrote in those private pages became one of the most studied texts in modern psychology, not because he had the answers, but because he wrestled with the same thing you do. This is what he said about anxiety and why therapists are still teaching it today. Most people picture Marcus Aurelius as a statue, cold, still, certain. The reality was the opposite. He ruled Rome from 161 to 180 AD, a period of almost constant crisis. Plagues swept through the empire, killing millions. Wars pressed in on every border. People he trusted betrayed him. And through all of it, he kept a private journal. He never meant for anyone to read it. No audience. No performance. Just a man trying to get through the day without losing his mind. That journal is now called Meditations. It reads less like the wisdom of a conqueror and more like the internal monologue of someone honestly anxious. He wrote things like, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Simple on the surface, but underneath that is a man who had to remind himself of this daily, because it did not come naturally. It never does. Modern therapists talk about something called cognitive distortion. It is the way our minds take a situation and add layers of catastrophe that do not actually exist. Marcus Aurelius described this same phenomenon almost 2,000 years ago. He called it the obstacle of opinion. He wrote, "It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about things." This is the same principle that CBT is built on, cognitive behavioral therapy. The idea that anxiety does not live in the event. It lives in the story we tell about the event. You do not get anxious because a hard conversation is coming. You get anxious because your mind says, "This will go wrong. They will think less of you. You will not handle it." Marcus called his practice examining impressions. Whenever a thought triggered panic, he would stop and ask one question. Is this real, or is this my mind's projection? That question, that pause, that is what a therapist calls cognitive reframing. Rome's emperor was doing it at 4 a.m. by candlelight. Now, here is the part most people miss about Marcus Aurelius. He was not trying to eliminate anxiety. He knew he could not. What he was practicing was something far more sophisticated. The ability to feel the anxiety and still choose his response. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Therapists today call this distress tolerance. The goal is not to make hard feelings disappear, The goal is to stop letting them make your decisions. Think about that. In the middle of an empire-wide plague, with bodies in the streets of Rome, Marcus did not pretend everything was fine. He sat with the weight of it. He acknowledged the fear, and then he asked one question. What can I actually do today with what I actually have? That is the whole practice. Not control everything. Not feel nothing. Just what is in my power right now.
The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. It is, word for word, what therapists now teach for anxiety, for OCD, and for PTSD. So what does this actually look like in real life? Marcus had 3 daily practices. You can start all 3 tomorrow. The first is the morning preparation. Each morning, he would mentally rehearse the day ahead, not to catastrophize, to prepare. He would think, today I will meet difficult people. Today something may go wrong, and that is okay. I have handled hard things before. Modern therapy calls this cognitive rehearsal. It works. The second is the evening review. Each night, he would reflect on the day without judgment. Where did I react instead of respond? Where did I let fear drive me? Not to punish himself, to learn quietly and honestly. The third is the pause. Between the thing that triggers you and what you do next, Marcus trained himself to insert one breath, one moment of awareness. Is this real? Is this in my control? What would a clear mind do here? 3 practices, written by a man 2,000 years ago, taught in therapy offices around the world today. Marcus Aurelius died in 180 AD on a military campaign, far from Rome in the cold. He never got to see his journal published. He never knew that millions of people would read it and feel less alone. But somewhere in those pages, scrawled in the margins of an emperor's life, is a truth that does not change. Anxiety is not a modern weakness. It is a human condition. You are not broken for feeling it. You are not behind for struggling with it. You are exactly where every honest, thinking person has always been. The question Marcus kept asking himself is the same question that has no expiry date. How do I never feel this again? What do I do with it now? In the next video, we look at Seneca. He was one of the wealthiest men in Rome, and on the night before he was forced to die, he wrote something about time that most people only understand when it is too late. I will see you there.